And let's go ahead and get started. Today, we are going to do Git Bisect, which is a really fun and shockingly easy thing to do. And we'll choose um, a simple approach to it and do a simple example. And my goal with Git Bisect is just to show you how approachable it is, because it sounds fancy, but it's not. It's just uh, it's just a great tool in your toolkit and a fun thing to do. We usually take time to go around the room and introduce each other. So let's go ahead and do that. Just say where in the world you are and something about yourself. I'm Randy Fay. I'm in Western Colorado in the U.S. Um, and today it's way warmer than it should be. I'm going to go mountain biking later because it just somebody was suggesting, and it's great. This time of year, we should have some snow and ice and mud, and all we have is warm weather that is already more than spring-like. So I guess I better get out and go mountain biking a little later today. Um, so I'm the lead maintainer of the DDEV project. I think probably all of you know me from there. And this this one that we're doing today is, it's not exactly about DDEV, but it's fun to talk about something that's not just the same old stuff. So, Alberto, go ahead.
Yes. Hello, everybody. Yes, I'm Alberto. I'm live in Switzerland, although I'm from Spain originally. Yeah, I like DDEV for some years now. I've been using it for years now, and yeah, happy to be here and to learn something new.
Very cool. Don, welcome. Introduce yourself if you can, and if you can't, that's okay. If you want to do it in chat, you can do that too. Joshua, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Joshua. I am currently based in Phoenix, but I work for the University of Denver. Um, and so all my friends back in Colorado are also enjoying the mountain biking winter, Randy. Uh, and yeah, I just want to say thanks for DDEV as someone who struggled mightily trying to do like civic volunteer projects with multiple developers and manage Docker and everything. DDEV makes Drupal life with Drupal super easy.
Well, thank you. We're glad to have you today and glad to have you contributing. Kevin, welcome. Great to see you.
Hey, I'm Kevin Reinen. I work at the. I'm right outside Boulder in Louisville, Colorado, on the other side of the Continental Divide, and it is warm here as well, Randy. So, we unusually warm all year round, which is great for mountain biking, not so good for skiing. So, hasn't been a great ski season this year. But yeah, I've been using DDEV for a long time and had an opportunity to. Thanks.
Very cool. Hey, Pierre Paul, great to see you. Sorry, I'm not going to see you in Chicago.
Yeah, that's fine. Wow, it happens. I'm Pierre Paul. I work with Evolving Web. I'm associate director there. Um, Long time lead user. Just hanging out with everyone.
All right. Okay, here is the cat. All right. Stas, go ahead.
Hi everyone, I'm Stas Zhuk. I live in Kremenchuk, Ukraine. I'm a maintainer of DDEV, and I'm always happy to be on those trainings and see how people can use DDEV, and not even DDEV, but also Git in this case. So nice to be here.
Very cool. Truls, go ahead. Both of you, both Truls can go ahead.
Yes. I'm on one computer and the iPad. Yeah, having two monitors, me as well. Yeah, she wants to sign a bit. Uh, So, yeah, I'm from Norway. It's snowing a bit now, but it's starting to melt down, right? So we're approaching spring as well. I work as a developer with Drupal, and I've been doing that for a lot of years. I've been a bit quiet lately, but yeah, I'm still focusing on developing the platform areas.
Well, it's great to see you. Did I get everybody? I think I did. All right, very cool. Well, let's go ahead and get started. The I've got a tiny presentation, but the presentation doesn't matter. It's just to keep me on track and try to remember that I've said, the right things. So, um, so I have a broken Drupal project, and I just chose it because it was handy, and it has a problem with PHP 8.3, and it's just broken. So I can show it to you if I do. Here I am on the 11.3.x branch, and if I do a DDEV launch here, um, it says that my PHP installation is too old, which is a very confusing thing to happen because let's see, DDEV PHP dash dash version is 8.3.30, which is certainly, like if we were to follow their link, we would certainly we would get informed that it was fine. So what happened to this? Um, it's like what we know that it's wrong, right? Because it's worked for a long time. 8.3 is relatively recent. So what we need to do is to figure out which commit broke it, because we know that somebody somewhere did something silly on this. And this is a common problem. And the great news about Git Bisect is that even if we don't know what class of problem it is, we can find out where the problem was introduced. So that's the kind of problem that is great with this. It's almost like an ancient kind of AI, right? You can ask it, you can say, I have a broken site that didn't used to be broken. How can I figure out when it broke? And of course, if you can figure out when it broke, a lot of times that is adequate to solve the problem because you can see the commit. And that's what will happen in our case. Feel free to speak up anytime. Say if you've used this, if you're um, anything you want to say. We're a small group. We can chitter chatter. So what we're going to do is basically we have a starting place for our Git bisect, and we know where there's a bad commit, so we mark that. We know where there's a good commit, so we have to check out a good commit and mark. So we mark that with Git bisect good. And then it starts working, and we just go through until it tells us where the problem is. So the fancy name for this in computer science in general is binary search, but it's the binary search algorithm in computer science is search where you start at one place, start at another, check at another, and then cut that in half, and then decide based on that how you're going to cut that in half. And so that's how it gets its name. If you've studied searches, you've certainly seen binary search. So that's the idea that we're going to do, and we're just going to do that right here. So I have this this broken Drupal 11 site, and let me just see if Stas, if you'd pay attention if anybody asked in or has a problem in the Discord or whatever. I just see somebody saying something in Discord. Um, so here I am on this project, and this is just a running DDEV project with Drupal 11 in it, not installed or anything. And I just want to DDEV launch it and get my things. So I know that this is bad. So I've already got the composer install done. We have the fail here. PHP 8.3 doesn't work. I'll spare you. 8.4 works. So if I change DDEV's version to 8.4, it works fine. So I have the bad commit right here. So I have already got it started. So I'm going to do a git bisect start, and it says it's waiting for me to mark the good and the bad. So this one here is bad. So we know that that's the case there. So I'm going to git bisect bad, and now it's waiting for the good commit. And we know that we assume that 11.2.0 is good. I believe it is. I will just check it. And it behaves as we would expect with an install screen. So that one's good. So I'm going to mark that as good. So now it immediately starts bisecting. So it immediately tells us that it's ready to go, and it has already checked out this issue here, this commit here, which was halfway between my good and my bad. And it doesn't yet tell us how many commits it has to go. So we will try that. But what our job is here in the next step is to find out if this is good or bad. So I will just do a git launch, and this one is working fine. So I'm going to do a git bisect good. So this one is good. And so I'm telling Git to go ahead and choose the next halfway point. And now it's telling me about where it's at. It says it's probably got 7 steps to go. It's got 148 revisions left to test. And I should point out that this strategy works lots of places other than Git bisect. So essentially, when you want to solve a problem or find out where a problem happens, using a technique like this is good. It's a lot better than stumbling around in the code saying, "Oh, it might be here. Oh, it might be there." That doesn't get anywhere very fast. But if you use a systematic technique like this, um, you can solve any number of classes of problem. For example, in Drupal, one strategy, if you have a new problem, is to disable a whole, choose, make a list of modules that might be a problem and disable half of them. And if the problem goes away, then you know it's in that set. And if the problem doesn't go away, it's not in that set. So the general strategy works with lots of different ideas of binary search. So let's just see if this one is good or bad. So this one's good. And now it has cut it down to just 74 revisions that were left to test. So I'm going to test this one. And this one is bad because we got the ugliness here. So it is it's not hard to confuse yourself and get lost in this because it's repetitive. And so I have definitely done times when I said the wrong thing. And I'll tell you what, if I had said get bisect good when it's actually bad, everything's off, right? Everything that you learned is off. So I have had to do this more than once to fix my bad behavior. I'm going to test this one, and this one is good. And I'm going to test this one, and this one is bad. And this one is good. You see, we're getting down to just 8 revisions. It's almost sorted it out. So this one was good. This one is bad. And this one is bad. This one is good. And lo and behold, it tells us which one is the first bad commit right here. And look who did that. So somebody deliberately broke Drupal, which is amazing. So I can look at this commit and see exactly what happened here. And it was a hacker messing around with Drupal core. So we found our way in the midst of that through hundreds and hundreds of commits in just a couple of moments. And it is a little tedious the way I just did it. And so we'll look at a way to make it less tedious, but that's all we did. And it could have been a much more sophisticated type of failure. Well, there's many failures like this are only this sophisticated, but a lot of failures are more complex. But if we knew where something was broken, we can solve it much more easily. So that's we did find it. Now, what we would do now to get rid of everything we've done is git bisect reset, and that takes us back to where we started. So that's the bisect approach, and that is actually all there is to it. Know where a good commit is, know where a bad commit is, and do a git bisect start, mark them, and then go through the process of figuring that out. So that's the whole deal. So we just did that. So questions, thoughts, anything that you have.
Hey,
That's a
Randy,
quick
you're
question.
showing this with sorry, my dog's going crazy. You're showing this with a version of core that you've checked out. The more common scenario is going to be a contrib module that's misbehaving where out of the box in your project, you don't have the Git history of the project in your repo. You'd only have the lock changes. So are you going to go over how you would bisect change contrib module within a project, or do you have a strategy for that?
No, but I'm not going to go over it, but I do have a strategy, and it's still bisecting. So what you would do, let's just say that the module is composer installed. You would use the same bisecting approach, changing your composer require to something that you know is bad and something you know is good, and test it. And then in your situation, Git's not going to do the checkout and stuff like that for you, but you would just do the composer require over and over again, using halfway in between, or the suspect area, to do that. So it's go ahead.
You which version, but to then go the next step to actually open a actionable issue on Drupal.org with the change in the project in the version. What we've typically done is environment in DDEV, delete the composer installed version, git clone the branch of the release that you're actually on, and then you could run git bisect, which works, except it's confusing and mind bending to have get within get. So I know there are some DDEV plugins to do different things with contrib modules, but I didn't know if you had a strategy personally that you were using to accomplish this.
Yeah, I would probably have done what you did, and I have often uh, checked out a module in Git right in Drupal core to accomplish that kind of thing. But of course, the DDEV Drupal contrib uh, add-on is kind of the official way to work with a module. Let me just pull that up here. Um, this is kind of the official way to scaffold a module that you're working with in Drupal core, so that you can do what you're talking about more simply. Instead of checking out Git within Git, this scaffolds the module into the project.
But this is maybe I'm just using this wrong. I've used this with clean Drupal installs and a clean contrib project to work on it directly. But when we're having an issue with a contrib module within the context of a larger Pantheon upstream, this it's possible to still use this, or this is something you would do in a separate install.
You could do it in a separate install, so that's a great idea. Um, I when I'm debugging, I'm tempted to just use your strategy and do a git checkout in the project, even though that's not sustainable from a teamwork situation. Git submodules is the official way to do that, but most people have bad experience with Git submodule. There won't be a DDEV training on Git submodule.
Yes, I've gone down that path to hell. Yeah. So our process is then once you figure out where the actual issue in the commit is, hopefully you can generate a patch to address it in the current release. Post the patch back to Drupal.org, add the patch to the build, and then you have to go and remove the Git checked out version and
Yeah.
let Composer go back to doing its thing.
Right.
But I was hoping you had a better way, more efficient way to do that, but
I,
doesn't
I
sound like it.
you are the expert at Drupal, and I am definitely not. But what you just described is what I would have done. That would be the easy way for me. And I think it is important to recognize that even though we have very specific needs for managing our projects with the team and with their deployment, whether it's Pantheon or whatever, that doesn't constrain us when we're debugging. So when we're debugging, you have to do things that are still predictable, but you don't have to follow the rules about how something is deployed, like composer deployment or whatever. You're not constrained. You can just do stuff, and if it helps, it's good. And your strategy would be perfect. Any other comments or questions or thoughts?
I have a quick question um, about reverting or revisions. So there's that command to reset the bisect to the head, but yeah, is there any kind of fail safe if you, like you said, accidentally say accidentally write in get bisect good or instead of bad? Is there any kind of like way to just like back up?
Yeah, just the
Um,
git bisect reset is the ticket. So if you screwed up, which I actually did a video of this like 15 years ago, in which I actually demonstrate screwing up by saying git bisect good at the wrong time or something, and I didn't even catch it. I watch it's probably still on YouTube or something, but the answer is just git bisect reset, and that takes you back to the beginning.
the
And
seat to start all over again.
yeah, and start over. Oh,
Dang.
if you were saying, what if I am doing this and I just figured out that I made a mistake, can I recover? The answer
Yeah,
is I don't think so. But
yeah,
I'm
that's
about to show you how to automate this so you can do it more than once and have a little more confidence that you understand what you're doing. Because the brain dead did the wrong thing, didn't recognize it, is a real problem here. You just saw me do it. It's boring, it's stupid, and it's
yeah.
easy to get confused. And so when we have a very significant problem that we're trying to sort out, it makes a lot of sense to automate it, and that makes it repeatable, and it makes it so that we have a recipe for what we think we're doing. So we'll do that
Well,
in just a moment.
well, I was gonna say it would be kind of nice if just when you enter, I didn't catch if this was on the console or not, but it would be nice if when you type in or when you enter get bisect bad or get bisect good, it tells you what commit you're at so that if you make an error, you can just go back through your console output, your terminal output, and then like find that commit and then check that out instead of starting over.
I I googled it and it's possible to save the log, this git bisect log,
Stack
and
Overflow. We don't use that anymore. We use AI. Just kidding. Just kidding. Thanks,
Look,
Stas.
oh, look, Git bisect replay. I didn't know about that. How about that? Very nice. I don't recommend um, I don't recommend thinking about that too much. I recommend making the process repeatable so that you can know that the right thing happened and prove that the right thing happened and do it more than once. Um, Normally, the beauty of Git Bisect in general is that you only have to do it like, what did I have to do, 10 times or something? 10 times is not that hard. And even if I had buried that commit even farther back in the Git history, it because it's half each time. They what did that O of two or whatever it is in fancy talk. It still is a controllable thing, but again, what we want to do is automate it. If we have a complex problem, it's worth taking a little time to automate it. Any other questions before we automate this one? Questions, thoughts, responses, your experience? Well, let's go ahead and automate this then, because we want to make sure that we didn't know what was really going on. So in this case, we can actually curl the install.php and see if we get the output choose language. That's a success if that happens. So if I do that right here, it says a 1. It failed. And if I was on a good, then it would succeed. So this is just this is the same as us looking at the browser and seeing if it ran the installer. So now, and so you do have to have a way to test it. And that may be more complex in some situations than this one. But if you have an automated way to test the problem that you have, then here is a technique. So what I'm going to do is create a script, and the script actually is here in this repo, check installable.sh. This is a very simple automation, and what it's going to do is do a DDEV mutagen sync, which is just a help for DDEV. That's a DDEV specific thing. When you do a branch change, which is what Git Bisect is doing, when Git Bisect does a branch change and changes perhaps 10,000 files all at once, that's not fair to poor mutagen. And so if you give mutagen a DDEV mutagen sync, then it doesn't return until that has actually cleared. And then the next step is that in a real situation, the composer install might need to be done. So in a real situation, the composer might have changed. And in a real situation, you probably need an install. So you might have needed to do a DDEV drush SI or whatever the thing might have been. And then we can test this. By the way, DDEV composer install does its own mutagen sync. So that's why we're not doing that. So I'm going to then take this script. Now, this script happens to be in the root of this repository, but I can't count on it being there because as soon as we start changing branches, it will be gone. So I am copying this script that I've created over into /temp so that it's available to me at all points in this run. So now what we do is we do a reset if we need one. We don't. And if I do a reset, oh, it doesn't even complain. I thought it would complain because we weren't bisecting. And then I can use the shortcut. You remember before we did a git bisect start, and then we checked out two different things and marked them as good and bad to start. But this is the shortcut where you give it the bad and the good. So we will do that with the shortcut here, git bisect start, and give it the bad and the good. And it already then starts us in the middle of that. And now I can do a git bisect run on using my script. And at each point, it will do that and check for the good and the bad and run it by itself. So now let's just run that and see what happens. And so it does it. It takes, it's going to do everything that we did and more because I wasn't doing the composer install, which is a natural, real need for it to do. But you see how fast it's going through this. And even if this was tens of thousands of commits, it would be relatively fast. And in that case, you could just let it run all night anyway. You don't care. You can have coffee. So taking the time with a non-trivial thing that you're trying to understand, taking the time to make a little script is a great thing. So that automated everything that I was doing and landed us right here with the success to get there in just a few moments, even though it was loads and loads of commits, and so we got that. Does that make any sense? My, like I say, I have absolutely made the mistake of doing something brain dead during the process, and that makes uh, it makes automating the problem a worthy endeavor. You may have a problem that is harder to capture than this one. This one's a very trivial item to capture, and you may have more things that you need to do than like a DDEV composer install to get you to a legitimate test at each checkout, at each point in the thing. But it's probably worth taking the time to do it because you all know how difficult a complex problem like this can be. And so rather than spending all day trying this and that, if Git bisect is likely to be a path to a solution, then taking the time to figure out how to prove the problem is great. If I were solving a real problem, I would probably start with a manual bisect and see if I could find it pretty quickly. And then if I found the problem, well, then, if I can demonstrate that that's the real problem, then I don't have to go any farther. But this is a worthy thing to do. Any comments or thoughts on that?
If this is some problem with DDEV configuration in the project, then we can use DDEV restart in this script. So it's going to catch any config or maybe hook was changed, something like this, and we also can catch it with one command.
Yeah, and you could change if it had to do with DDEV, which we hope it doesn't if we're studying a problem in our web code base. But we can adjust that. So we can do a DDEV restart, composer install, drush SI, whatever it takes to give us a legitimate approach to it. So that's the overall strategy. I commend it to you. It's beautiful. I know that it's not every day that we need it, and therefore it gets stale in our fingers, but it's not hard. And the basic thing that I wanted to get across is that you just the basic thing I wanted to get across is that you just do it. Just Git bisect, try to understand the context, Git bisect start, find the bad one, say Git bisect bad, find the good one, say Git bisect good, and then you have to know what your test is, and that's it. So it's that it's just pretty straightforward. So I hope you'll try it sometime. It does. Not every problem is related to a regression, but when it is related to a regression, and it's not obvious to us right away when the regression happened, This is a great technique. So, well, if you don't speak up,
And
we'll
it's
quit.
probably good to clear some cache between each revision. So I think this can be also a problem.
That's exactly right. So in whatever code base you're working with, there might be cache in a database. We didn't deal with that in this case because there was no, this was at a very early stage. I chose a trivial example, but a cache clear, a database reinstall with a cache clear, all of those things are worthy. And you could do this with, for example, Drupal has config export. And so if you were working with Drupal or something that had configuration in code, you could easily git bisect your config, and you could do a drush SI followed by a config import to find out when the config import went bad. And so that would be a great technique. And that's actually, of course, one of the super strong things that Drupal has is the ability to export config so that you could search for it over a bunch of over time and figure that out. Let's see if I can stop sharing. Stop share. There it is. Well, I'm delighted to have you here today. Great to see you, and happy to hang around and talk about anything that you're interested in on this or DDEV or anything else. And if you have any other comments before we stop the recording, feel free.
Thanks so much, Randy.
It was